What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Ask E Everything. As always, to start, I want to thank you for joining me, whether it's your first time or you are a repeat viewer. I know there's a lot of great entertainment and amazing things to spend your time on these days, so I appreciate you taking a look and spend some time with me. As you've seen by the title of the episode, this is going to be all about the new normal today. Over the past couple months, there are two questions that have just been kind of repeated countless number of times through headlines in newspapers or articles online, and also through the mainstream media in their reports. And they go something like this: when will things go back to being normal? Or will the world ever be the same again? It's important as we consider these questions today that I have normal in quotes in the headline for a reason. We can basically consider air quoting normal and words like the same throughout this presentation today, just to kind of get the effect of the way that I'm seeing things. And it'll save me from having to air quote on camera for you. When I hear people talking about these questions, the first thing that comes to mind is a sense of peril that they're in. It really seems to be causing stress, worry, a sense of anxiety, and even fear in people. People seem eager to get, quote, back to the way that things were before all of this happened. As I've thought about it more and more, though, my question is, why is this the case? If we truly think about it, do we really want life to be the exact same as it was? Was the, quote, same really that great? And what really is normal anyway? When I think about the word normal and what that means, words that come to mind are things like comfort, habit, routine, safety, an easy life, and of course the known, or the things that we know. The question here for me, though, is what comes of a life like this at the end of the day? Sure, it's more pleasing at face value, but is it really that satisfying and rewarding to us? Or does it lead to things like mediocrity and settling, complacency, or a mundane way of spending our precious time? The concept of the new normal is really one interesting one to me. When I first started hearing this expression being used on the news and commercials, it probably took about a day and a half for me to get extremely annoyed and kind of frustrated with the expression. As a matter of fact, it became a joke in my household because every time I heard it, I would roll my eyes. Just thinking to myself, normal, same. These words seem to be partners in crime. And the more I thought about it, while I understood the concept of getting back to life as we once knew it, I started to just question whether that is the right way to be looking forward or to be taking things on in the present. I had an epiphany earlier today about that expression, new normal, because I realized that it could be defined in two different ways. The first way to look at it is to be going back to exactly what we were doing. The same routines, the same habits, the same job, essentially kind of the, quote, same life. But I believe now that there's a new way to look at the new normal, to look at it as a chance and an opportunity to redefine our normality. We can enhance it, but in order to do that, we have to first embrace what's going on and embrace this as an opportunity to make some changes. As contrary to what you might normally do as it would seem, I think this is an opportunity to choose things like discomfort over comfort, to choose things like adventure over our habits, and to even choose things like fear over safety, or challenges over the easy life. Essentially, to choose the unknown over the known. The word unknown for me is something that has kind of an interesting reputation. People perceive the unknown as being kind of scary or inducing fear, or being uncomfortable because we're not sure what lies ahead. But for me, I look at the unknown as an opportunity to define what happens next. At the end of the day, when we're uncomfortable or seeking adventure or even a little bit scared of things, these are the conditions that lead us to be our most interesting, innovative, and thriving selves. We are at our best in the universe, I believe, when we are attacking life, not when we are being shaped by others or waiting for life to happen to us. I was reminded today of the concept of the pursuit of happiness. This is one of our founding principles as a nation, and we've completely let go of it, in my opinion. It seems to me almost like we have stopped pursuing it altogether and kind of become to expect that it will just happen to us. And perhaps that's a discussion for another episode. Be happy to get into that further. But in the meantime, I'm just wondering, have we stopped really truly seeking happiness in life? When we are sitting back on our heels waiting for life to just happen to us, we are being defined by that situation. It's been said for a long time that the best defense is a strong offense. We need to use this opportunity to move onward, upward, and forward. We need to be advancing instead of retracting. I believe this is important right now because we have a chance in this kind of standstill where we feel like, all these rules and laws and things are imposed on us, and we're kind of waiting for the virus to go away, or waiting to get back to work, or kind of waiting to get back to school, or back to our normal lives. The reality is, it's an opportunity to say, what do I want to do next? How do I want life to look on the other side of this? It's a pretty rare opportunity to get a chance to even consider things like that. So often in our, quote, normal life, we're caught up in these routines that take up so much of our time and our minds and our attention and even our kind of physical and emotional selves that we don't really get a chance to even look around. Since we've been given this opportunity and kind of been forced to kind of look around at what life looks like, and also been forced to adapt to this current situation and make changes in our life and kind of overcome adversity, why wouldn't the next step be to launch forward with something positive and to head in that direction rather than kind of succumbing to, the old ways of our lives? So to answer the original questions posed in the beginning of this episode, when will things be normal again? The answer is never. Or the answer could also be always, if we accept that things are always normal because we're the ones that define what normal means in our lives. Will things ever be the same again? No. There's no such thing as being the same again. While some might lament these answers, I believe this is actually great news, something to celebrate. Things may never be the same again, but they were never the same ever. It's kind of one of these things where, to me, life is constantly moving and evolving. There's only one choice to really be made. Do we want to be the chess piece or the player of that game? I invite everyone to embrace the opportunity that we have here. I really do believe we can come through this experience and out on the other end as an improved individual, and therefore as an improved team, and therefore just really as an improved universe. The challenge for the day is to be able to see it this way. Instead of something that happened to us, we should be thinking of the circumstances and analyzing them, and then taking them and thinking, how can we happen to life going forward? We need to stop waiting for the, quote, return to, quote, normalcy, and create our own new normal. Remembering that at any time it can be edited again. not only just when there's a major global crisis taking place, or when we're in an uncomfortable situation because of what's going on around us. For those of you watching and thinking that that's an uncomfortable thought or something that seems like, a one-way street, while I do believe life only moves in one direction, and that is forward, the comforting fact for those that are a little nervous about embarking on that journey is that normal and sameness are not going anywhere. Trust me, they're easy to find, and should you go on some kind of adventure in a positive direction and realize that it's not exactly for you, or that you like the way things were, it's very easy to pick up those habits again. This is by no means a call for anarchy or an invitation to flip your life upside down. Of course, things like your job or your family structure and so on might stay on track the way that they have always. Although, in reality, even things like that are ultimately reviewable at any moment in time. But I do believe we need to take a look at things and figure out a way to enhance them and to improve them, so that our new normal can be a fruitful situation instead of simply a return to what we once knew. Life is a free-flowing, unfolding, undetermined experience, and we are captaining our own ships and steering our own wheels. The only true way that we can predict the future is by defining it ourselves. So let's fill in the blanks going forward, and we can do that by truly living in the present moment and by choosing our own adventure. Think of it as a choose-your-own-adventure book that we all read when we were young. In those books, we made choices to turn to different pages, and on those pages we're faced with different outcomes based on the moves that we made. While that seemed so fun and free at the time, the reality is there were a pretty limited number of outcomes and ways that the book could be read. The fun thing now is we don't have to be the reader anymore. In fact, we can be the author of the entire book and create a literal limitless number of options as far as pages we can turn to, and therefore limitless outcomes. You can start writing that next chapter right now. I urge you to pick up a pen, hop on your keyboard, or if you like, just close your eyes and let your mind do the work. But the time is now. There's no better time, and there will probably never be a better time. One that's highlighted by such an opportunity to think about how we live our life, how we spend our time, and what we want to get out of it going forward. So let me be the first to actually welcome you to your new normal. I hope you enjoy the ride, and I really encourage you to question what's going on and really just ask yourself, where do I want to go now? What happens next? What page do I want to turn to? That's going to do it for now, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this. I hope it made you think a little bit. I urge you, as always, to leave any questions, comments, concerns, or really anything in the comment section. Of course, I would appreciate subscriptions if you can, and if you would like the videos, it'd be great. Remember, the only dumb answer is the one that goes unanswered. Sorry. The only dumb question is the one that goes unanswered. I'll get that right eventually. I do want to remind you to be courteous as always, and most importantly, to be curious. And be well, have a great day, and start writing the new book.